Hey guys, thanks for showing up this morning. I'm here. We'll go ahead and get started. Can you guys give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? I don't want to be sitting here talking and then find out nobody could even hear me. So anyway, first I want to start out by saying thank you guys for subscribing to me. This is mostly just a live for my subscribers, but of course anyone can listen in, but it'll make more sense if you're a subscriber over on X, because I'm going to talk about some of our current positions and what we do and what we are doing with our positions. Thanks, G-Man, for giving me the thumbs up. Okay, so we'll get started. A lot of this it's kind of from last week's live. It'll just be some of the same stuff, but updated so that everybody knows. But let me just start by saying first that my kids are home and my dogs are home. So if they start barking, if my dogs start barking, I'll just mute us real quick so that y'all don't have to hear it, because my one dog is super squeaky. So, all right, so we'll get started. Let me see. Okay, so first at the end of this, I'll go over my 2025 profits. I did this last week, so of course it hasn't changed since last week. So if you're interested in staying till the end, if you didn't listen to last week's or you're new here, I'll go over that for you guys to tell you what worked and what didn't. And then we can go from there to say what we're potentially, hopefully going to do in 2026. So, but I'll do that at the end. So if you already heard it, you can leave and not have to listen in. If your kids are barking, no, my kids will make my dogs bark because they come and go. And I've got a big dog that barks, and his barks are not annoying. But I've got a little 4-pound poodle that her barks are extremely squeaky. But I'll introduce you. Here she is. This is Callie, and she's wearing her Grinch shirt. So she's ready for the holidays, and she's staying warm in my lap with her blanket. So she's always cold. Okay, so first let's talk about yesterday, how that was crazy, that sell-off, and everybody was a little nervous, and I don't think it's going to be the last sell-off we have, unfortunately. I think this is just going to be a rocky start to 2026, and we're going to have red days and green days. And one thing I have noticed is that we have a lot of red days that bring us down a lot, and then we have like one green day that will just bring us back up like 1 or 2%. So we don't end up making any leeway on the up days because it just can't catch up with the down days. So all I can say is, one, if you are in a position that you are not bullish on, maybe even like BMNR, BMNU, MSTU, any of those that you don't feel like is going to make a profit eventually, you can go ahead and close the position and sell and take it as a write-off this year. If you made some money this year, you can, sell those, take the loss, and then it will lower your taxes on, your capital gains, which, is a pretty high percentage. So if you're in anything that's not doing well, just sell it, if you're not bullish. A lot of us are in BMNU and MSTU, and I'm going to hold because I am bullish on crypto and I don't need the buying power right now. If I needed the buying power or I needed a tax write-off, I would sell. Or if I'm not bullish on crypto going into 2026. For me, I'm fine with it. I'm going to hold it, and I'm just going to wait because I am bullish, but I don't know how long. I mean, it could be months, it could be a year, who knows? And it could go down even further than it has right now. I don't think we've dropped much below 85, which is good. 85,000 on Bitcoin, which is good. But I mean, it always could. So, you just don't know. So we're just, that's what I can say about any of your underperformers. If you want to get rid of them, get rid of them. Now's the time. And I think that has partially to do with what these sell-offs have been. People tax loss harvesting and just getting rid of positions that aren't doing well, or taking profits before the end of the year. Of course, a lot of people are wanting to take profits, which we should be doing as well. So on any green days, make sure you are selling covered calls and make sure that you are taking profits. So I have a $21 TSLL covered call expiring tomorrow. If we are closing above 21, I'm going to let those shares go. I know we're up to 22 or whatever we're at right now. I'm going to let the shares go because I've only got 200 shares left. And I just want to take profits. My cost basis is $12. So I will make, what is that, $900 on that trade plus whatever premium I received. So I'm going to let them go. I want to go ahead and take some profits going into the new year. And then we'll go over what I still have there in TSLL. I still have quite a bit of cash secured puts left. And I'm going to hold them because, you know, even with that major run up, I'm still only up like 50, 60% on these cash secured puts going into next year. So the contracts haven't moved that much. So I'm just going to keep holding. To me, there's basically no risk behind it because my strikes are low. You know, I would be fine being assigned shares under 14. So I'm just going to keep that. I want everyone to know, my new traders especially, I want you to understand your risk and your risk tolerance with this. I've got a bunch of new traders that want to jump in on BMNU because, you know, the premiums are irresistible. The IV is high. You're looking, thinking, oh my gosh, how could this be? It's a $5, $6 ETF right now, and I can receive 100 plus on one contract. But the reason for that is because it's super risky. You're relying on Ethereum, you're relying on BMNR, you're relying on the overall market, and then you're 2x leveraging that with BMNU. So I just want you to be really careful with these super high IV, high premium plays. You can get screwed pretty quickly with those. And I just don't want you to, you know, get a bad taste in your mouth. The older traders that have been around for a while, or you have a very large portfolio and you want to risk a little, okay, well, do it. Have fun. I did it as well. But I just don't want my new traders to be getting into those kind of things, and really just even be careful with leveraged ETFs at all, because although they can be very profitable, they can also take out your whole portfolio if you're not careful. Just think about like NVDL. I mean, everyone's an NVIDIA bull, right? NVIDIA is doing great. I think it'll continue doing great. But if you got in at 100, you're not doing great right now. So speaking of NVDL, if you got in at 100, you're not doing good right now. So, you know, you just have to be careful with the leverage, even if you're bullish on the underlying. So just keep that in mind, especially new traders. So I'm saying don't chase the high IV. Sorry, let me put her down. So don't chase the high IV. An IV around 100% is considered high. But for me, that's a comfortable high. Some of these, like when Opendoor was running and, you know, everybody was trading it, I mean, it was up to 400% IV. So if you see something like that, just know there's a reason, and it's because the risk. So be very, very careful with those. Because if you want to look at like Apple and Amazon and some of these other quality stocks that are great for long-term holds, the IV is so low, they're not even worth trading. And it's because they're not super risky. So, you know, the riskier, the more it's going to pay. So just pick your risk, you know, pick your risk tolerance and be careful. Okay, so right now we are obviously in a choppy market. So I just want everybody to just stay calm, be cool, sell your cash secured puts on red days and sell your covered calls on green days. And I posted just a quick short video yesterday here on YouTube, just to calm everybody's nerves. I mean, this happens. This is a stock market. We don't go up all the time. And if we did, none of us would make money because it would go up, we would sell, and then we'd just be stuck or just be out of the position. So we need the down days. The down days are how we're going to make money. So don't let them scare you and make you jump out of the market or want to quit trading or, you know, anything like that. We're going to have red days. We're going to have red weeks. Let's just hope we don't go into a bear market, which I don't think we will, but you never know. Things can happen. I mean, who would have thought something like COVID would have happened in 2020? Like, who in the world would have ever thought something like that would hit the United States and shut everything down? So you don't know. You don't know when something's going to happen, but so you have to be prepared. But overall, I think we're going to continue with a strong market with, of course, red days and pullbacks. We have to have pullbacks. Okay, so right now, as many of you know already, I am in way too many names. I was heavily trading TSLL pretty much all year, with a side of BBAI and a side of a few other small names. Um, but TSLL was my main source of income, and a lot of you actually joined my group because you wanted to start trading TSLL with me, and it did very well for us. But now it is too high. Let's see where it's at. We're almost at $23. So I'm not selling cash secured puts at $23. Like, absolutely not. Because if it comes back down and we're stuck in shares at $23, I don't know if you guys know Rod, retire on dividends. He was stuck for a long time with shares at $22. And, we were all like, you're never going to get out of that. You're never going to get out of it. You're going to be stuck with that forever. He did end up averaging down. I think he got his average down to like 18 or something, which, was still super, super high at the time. So, trading it right now, although I'm bullish and I think it's going to do well, but I am not going to sell cash secured puts right now. If it drops back down to 18-ish, I will start selling them again, probably with a $16 strike. Let's see, what percentage of your account do you allocate to each trade? It really just depends. I'm going to tell you, the account that I trade in is completely separate from my long-term investment account. So I don't discuss my long-term investments on here. I mean, if anybody wants to know, I'll be more than happy to tell you. It's not a big deal, but that's boring. We're really here just to trade. And so I don't really allocate a certain amount to each name because I have a watch list of 10 to 12 stocks and ETFs that I trade. And when they are out of my price range, I stop. Like I just said, TSLL, it's out of my price range. So it's done. I've still got quite a few cash secured puts open going into 2026. I mean, I've got actually a lot. I mean, not a lot, but I don't want to count them right now, but at least 20 contracts going into 2026 with a low strike. So I'm not gonna, whatever's there is there. I'm not gonna do that right now anymore. Sorry. But I'm heavily in BBAI right now, just because it's at my sweet spot. So I'm using a high percentage of my trading funds for BBAI. But I am still in other positions, which I'll go over in a minute, that I'm trading lower. So if something is out of my sweet spot, I still continue to trade it lightly until it just blows out of the water like TSLL has. AMDL is out of my sweet spot, but it's not way out. I mean, we're at 14. So I am selling some puts. I actually entered some this morning, but they didn't fill. So when they do, I'll let you guys know. But if we could get in there below $14 or $13, I'll start trading that a little heavier. I'm staying out of all crypto positions because I'm already in so many. So I really don't set a number. When I was trading TSLL heavily, I was trading with about 85,000, sometimes even more, 85 to 100,000. So pretty much almost all of my trading money was in that one because it was stuck for 6 months between $10 and $12, and I was not going to let that go. I was going to take full advantage while it was there. Let's say you have a 15K account, putting it all in one stock. Keep some money aside. Always keep some money on the side, because let's just say you jump in with BBAI with us. I'm just using that as an example. And we are in 550 puts, and BBAI drops and you get assigned shares at 550. That's a great average. I mean, even if it drops lower, 550 is still a very, very good average. But if it drops even lower due to like a market correction, or BBAI has earnings and it drops, or just overall AI, like this past week with Oracle and all the AI stocks and ETFs got hit because of Oracle and all that. So if it drops further, you need to have money to average down, because you don't want to get yourself stuck in a position where you own all these shares, it's dropped too low to sell covered calls, and you can't average down. So always keep money to average down. So when we were playing TSLL so heavily, I kept telling people, it can drop to $6. TSLL can drop to $6 in a heartbeat. It did in April when we were talking about the tariff news. It dropped to 6. So if you were in at 12 or 10, which was a great cost basis, but it dropped to 6, you weren't going to be able to do anything with it until it ran back up. So to be able to have money on the side so that you can continue trading and try to average down is very, very important. So if you had a 15K account, I would say, use 10K and keep 5K on the side. And you can keep those rolling. You don't have to put 10K in one position. You can do numerous names, or you can, even if you were only trading one name, you could do it different strikes and different expirations. And that way, like if you had some expiring tomorrow, you have some expiring on, I don't know, January 2nd, then you could take the funds from tomorrow's expiration when they expire or when you close it and put it into January 9th or put it into January 16th or go out from there. And that way you keep them rolling and you have a consistent weekly income. And then keeping money to average down as well. So anyway, I'm again in too many names right now. For me, I'm just not comfortable being in so many names. So I'm going to be selling my covered calls a little riskier and a little closer to my strike. I'm not going to go under my strike. We're not at a point where that needs to be done. But I am in BBAI and TSLL. My favorites, I will stick with them. I'll be holding them until expiration. The shares that I own, I will be selling covered calls like normal. Nothing will be aggressive. Those are my two favorites. BBAI is below our sweet spot. So it's a very, very good time to be in BBAI. AMDL, Bull, HIMZ, HIMZ, leveraged, RCAT, SOXL, EOSE, which I'm just testing out, but I know a lot of you guys like that one. And then, of course, the terrible BMNU, MSTU, CONL, CleanSpark, and Mara. Those are the ones I really, really will be selling aggressive cover calls and trying to get out of those. But again, I'm still bullish on them, so I'm not going to take a loss. So I'll be selling. I just hate that BMNU only has monthly expirations, because then after tomorrow, then we have to go out to January. So that's not great. My goal is on each one of these that I own shares is just to sell them $1 above my average. And if you have a larger portfolio and you've got a lot of shares of something, $1 move is huge. So like, for instance, Bull, BULL, I own, I think 1,600 shares. Let me look here. 16, where is it? Yeah, 1,603 shares. And the 3 is just because I created an odd lot. So anytime it drops, I just buy a few shares. I have a cost basis of those at 1066, and we're at 860. So being down $2 per share is leaving me negative $3,300. Now, I know that sounds like a lot, and some of you would be like, you're down $3,000. That's terrible. But when you have 1,600 shares of something, that's only a $2 difference. That's not that big of a deal. As fast as it dropped $2, it can run up $2, and then it can run up another $2, and that's when you start really making money. I also do have covered calls against those. I have 7 covered calls. They're obviously doing well because we had such a big drop. I will probably sell another cash secured put to try to get my average down. It'll be the lowest strike I can do and still receive a decent premium. So I might do like an $8 or $7 strike. I don't know, but really try to actively get my share cost bases down so that I can, again, continue selling covered calls. So if you're in Bull, BULL, and you're down, just hold. I mean, it's going to come back. It's not like Bull had bad news, or it's not like it's a bad stock or anything like that. It's just the overall market dropped. And so everything dropped except Tesla. Tesla is on fire, but that's because it had good news. So these stocks are going to react to news. So if they're not reacting to news, they're just following the market, then they're just following the market. Just wait it out, because the market will come back and those will come back. Now, I will say this, if Bull got some bad news, which is Webull, if Webull got some kind of horrible news that, I don't know, they're going to stop selling options. I don't know, just something random. And I know the stock is going to tank and it's probably not going to recover. Well, then you might want to just take a loss if you heard something crazy like that, because that would tell you it's not going to recover. You're never going to make your money back. So go ahead, just take that loss and, while you can, and still have some buying power, and move on. So there's that. But again, if something is just down due to the market being down, you just hold and you wait, because market's going to have down days. Stocks are going to have down days. It's just part of the process. Okay, so I wanted to discuss TSLL versus Tesla. A lot of people have asked me about this, and a lot of people have a lot of opinions about this. So I posted yesterday on X about how TSLL is not good for a long-term hold. And, most people reacted and said, yeah, that's true. That's true. We all know that. It's not an investment. It's a leveraged ETF that's meant for trading. It resets every single day. When they say it's 2x leveraged, that does not mean it's 2x forever. Like if Tesla goes up 20% in a year, this does not go up 40% in a year. It resets every single day. So it does not follow Tesla to X long term. Now, I'm not saying that doesn't mean you can't hold it long term, but I'm saying as a long-term investment, if you were going to just put it in an investment account and not look at it, not trade it, no intent to sell it, you don't want to buy TSLL, because it will underperform Tesla. So let's just look at the 1 year chart. In 1 year, Tesla is up 5% as of this morning. 1 year. So from last December to this December, it is up 5%, which isn't really that great, but it is up 5% regardless. Okay. TSLL over the past year, last December to this December, is down 40%. So if you would have bought $1,000 worth of TSLL last December, you would be down $400. You would have lost 40% of your money if you just bought it and held it till now. If you didn't sell covered calls, if you weren't trading it, if you just bought it and held it, 40% of your money would be gone. Whereas if you put $1,000 in Tesla itself, you'd be up 5%. So you'd be making money. So that is what I mean by long term. I don't mean months. I don't mean hold it while you're selling covered calls, hold it for the next run up, trade it. I am not referring to that. I'm referring to long-term investing. You do not buy these leveraged ETFs and expect them to outperform the underlying stock, because they don't, and they never will. So Tesla just hit all-time highs yesterday. I think it hit a new all-time high today, and that means all-time of all times. Tesla has never been this high. But TSLL last year hit $41 a share, and today it's only at 23. So just keep this in mind. It's got fees attached, it's got decay attached. It can run up really, really fast if Tesla runs up really, really fast. That's how it ended up at 41, because Tesla ran up so fast and it resets every day. If Tesla would have made that move slowly, TSLL would not have run up as quickly as it did. So, you just have to really understand these and know these. So I'm still holding shares. So I am not in any way saying you can't hold TSLL shares. My cost basis is $12. I'm selling covered calls. I'm making a consistent income with those shares, and I do plan to sell them. I'm not holding them for the rest of my life. It's not a 5-year plan. It's not an investment. It is for trading purposes only, and for me to take some profits. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I have some $21 covered call tomorrow. I'm going to let those shares go. If we're above 21, which I think we will be, I'm letting them go, because again, my cost basis is $12. So I'm going to take profits and move on, because next time it drops, I'll be happy I took profits. And then I can sell cash secured puts again. So Tesla won't stay up forever. It's going to come back down eventually. I'm not saying when, but it will. Okay, and then I want everyone to understand the difference in a leveraged ETF and a stock. Leveraged ETFs, you are not investing in the stock. So if let's say you don't like Elon and you don't like Tesla, but you like how it moves. And I've heard people say, I'm not giving money to Elon, I'm not giving money to that company. Okay, well, great. Well, TSLL, you're not, because it is not affiliated with Tesla. It just uses its name as its underlying, so it can move, and it'll move 2x. So again, not an investment. You're not giving Elon or Tesla money. This is a ETF made for trading, and it's not affiliated with them. And that's all of the leveraged ETFs. Stuck in a meeting, but listening on mute to provide some more. Thanks, Rod. Appreciate it. Rod is the one that told me that I need to not have a black screen. So here I am this morning. I brushed my hair and everything. So let's see what else. Those of you that are new and you don't know what it means when someone says they have a lot of shares, not a lot, but a lot, L-O-T. That means 100 shares. One lot is 100 shares, and you want to keep them in lots so that you can sell covered calls against them, because it requires 100 shares to sell a covered call. So when you hear someone say they have an odd lot, that just means they've purchased additional shares, so that let's say you had 100 shares of BBAI right now at $5.50. Let's say you have them at $6, okay, because that's where my sweet spot is. $6 on BBAI is a good place to own shares. And you're selling a covered call against your 100 shares of BBAI. Okay, that's great, and that's what you're supposed to do. But BBAI right now is sitting at 567. So right now would be a good time to purchase a few shares. You might want to purchase 5 shares or 10 shares, and every time it drops, you add a few shares. One, it's lowering your cost basis, and two, if you have sold a covered call against your full position, so if you have 100 shares, you've sold 1 covered call. If you have 200 shares, you've sold 2 covered calls, and it runs up to 10. Let's just say it gets some news, and it runs straight right here from 567 up to 10, but you've got $7 covered calls. You have to sell your shares at $7. But the odd lot you have created, you can go ahead and hold that. You can't sell a covered call against if you don't have 100 shares. So those will continue to go up with the stock. So if it just randomly runs up to 10, you have to sell your 200 or 100 shares at 7. And you've got extra 40 shares that you purchased at 5 something, you can let those run. You could take profits on those separate, and you'll make a lot of money. And you won't feel quite as bad as having to sell your shares at 7. So that's what a lot and an odd lot is when you see people talking about it. I also, on my video yesterday, talked about the wheel strategy and how if you're wheeling, you should be making money both ways. So if we have a green day, don't hesitate to sell covered calls. Seriously, do not hesitate. You need to keep this ball rolling. These are not investments. These are trades. Now, some people do sell covered calls in their long-term portfolio against their long-term shares, and that's a different story than what I'm talking about. I'm referring to a trading account with our trading stocks. BBAI is not a long-term hold for me. It is a trade. I want to make money on the trade, and I want to move on. So when it is a green day and I can get decent premiums on covered calls, I'm going to sell covered calls, especially in this choppy market. So I've seen some of you tell me, I'm bullish on BBAI, and I think it's going to go to $8, and I don't want to cap my profits with covered calls. I completely understand. So don't sell against your full position, but do sell covered calls. So if you've got 300 shares, at least sell 1 or 2 covered calls, and then create an odd lot to have some extra shares on the side if you do think it's going to run to 8. Don't just sit here and hold these, because you could potentially lose money if you do that. These are made for trading and they're made for selling covered calls. If you're holding these, it's because you're wanting to make money on them and sell covered calls. Sure, it could run up and you could make money. And that's my next thing I wanted to talk about. So I was assigned more RCAT shares overnight, early assignment, because early assignment is rare, but my strike was 10. And the fact that it is so far off where we're at now, I got assigned early. And I know someone else DM'd me that she was assigned early as well. So now we have shares. A lot of times people think that's a losing trade. Well, I didn't want the shares. I just wanted to collect premium. So here's the thing. You need to, number one, have a plan when you go into it. If this is a stock or an ETF that you absolutely 100% do not want to own, under any circumstances, I am here to sell cash secured puts, collect premium, and get out. Then knowing that plan, you need to go super low with your strike. You may want to go further out with your expiration. You want to close the contracts early to avoid assignment. And if you're underwater, you want to go ahead and roll it out to a further expiration, maybe a lower strike. I can help you with rolling if you need, but don't hold until expiration. Don't wait it out if you absolutely do not want to hold it. And then, of course, take profits if you see them. If it's a stock you don't want, take profits and get out. Don't risk it. You need to know that going into your trade. When you first open that cash secured put, what is my plan with this trade? And so for me, I was okay being assigned the shares because it's going to bring my cost basis down, because although it was a $10 strike, the premium was, I don't remember, two something maybe, or 100, almost $200. So my strike, my overall cost basis now will be $8 and something. So I don't mind owning the shares because I will sell covered calls against them. But so just know that you need to know that going in. The plus side to being assigned shares is when you own shares of a stock and it runs up, that is where you're actually going to make your big money. Okay. Yeah, it's great to be collecting premium along the way. But if you're in the stock and it runs up $1 and you've got 1,000 shares, you've made $1,000. You're not going to make $1,000 on a couple of cash secured puts. You see what I mean? So as long as you know your stock, you know your risk, and you don't mind being assigned, the shares are a better way to make money than just holding the cash secured put contracts. Because not only do you make that when it runs up, and all of the stocks that I'm in, I'm bullish on, and I think they are going to make a big run at some point. I don't know when, but at some point. So just knowing that, and then along the way, of course, you're making money on your covered calls. Covered calls do not tend to pay as much as cash secured puts in premium. So for me, I'd rather sell cash secured puts than to own shares and sell covered calls. So some people say, I'm going to buy shares and sell covered calls. And that's great if that's the way you like to trade. For me, though, it's not. I'd rather sell cash secured puts, collect as much premium as possible. If I get assigned shares, then I'm okay with it because I don't mind, again, owning the shares. Hopefully it runs up and selling covered calls along the way. Here, 1 second, sorry. Kelly. Okay, sorry. So that's the wheel. So just make sure that you are making money in both directions. When the market drops, you need to be making money. So, this week the market had a significant pullback. All of my covered calls are up. So yes, I'm down on shares. My share, they're underwater. A lot of my shares are underwater, and that's okay. They're shares. They're not options. I didn't buy options. I'm just waiting it out. So no big deal. The point is, as long as you are making money every week, it is what it is. Your share value can be down a little bit. So, and circling back to what I said before, make sure you have money on the sidelines so you can add. What's your thought on buying leaps instead of shares? Okay. For me, it's an absolute no. And here's why. First, we're in a choppy market. Second, we're going into a new year. You never know what's going to happen in a new year. We could go on a massive bull run or we could tank. So for me, it's definitely an absolute no. I bought a bunch of leaps in 2021. we were in Okay, I think I'm back on. Hopefully you guys are still here. Let me know if you can hear me and see me. I think I'm back on. I don't know what happened here, but somebody give me a thumbs up if I'm back on, and just let everyone know over in the Discord that we're back and running, if you would, because some of you dropped off. Okay, sorry, I don't know what happened, but here we're back. Okay, so what I was saying is, I don't know, but let's just get back on track. So when you enter a position, that's what I was saying. Just have a plan. Know what you want to do. Do you want to own these shares? Do you not want to own these shares? Do you want to close it early? And if so, at what percentage? Like most of the time I will close at 80%, especially if I've got a bunch of contracts and I just want to, get out and move on and take profits. And that's what I've been doing a lot lately, just because the market's been so volatile and just up and down and crazy. So, okay. And that's what I was saying about you'll make more money on shares than you will just selling cash secured puts, but it has to be something that you're obviously bullish on and think that it's going to go up. Would any of you guys mind just letting the other subscribers know that we're back on? Because a lot dropped off when I couldn't get it working. So let's see. Okay, so another thing that I've been trying to do lately, and this week it kind of blew up in my face, but I do want to try it, is selling in the money puts. If a stock is low enough that you're kind of wanting to own the shares. So like for instance, BBAI right now is below $6. So I'm happy selling cash secured puts below $6. Okay, my cost basis on my shares is $5.89. So I sold some $6.50 cash secured puts, and that is in the money. So my reason behind that is one, you get paid a lot more premium. So if you're bullish on the stock, you do make a lot more on it. Two, let me see what I got paid on those. The $6.50, I got paid $63 per contract. So if I am assigned the shares tomorrow, which most likely I will be unless it runs up to $6.50, I'll be assigned shares at my original cost basis anyway, below $6. So I'm okay with that. Also, the difference is if like I said, I got $63 per contract. So let me see here. So that would, leave me under $6. But if it runs up tomorrow, let's say it runs up to $6, I'm still going to make money. Let's say it runs up to $6.10, I'm still going to make money because of the amount of premium that I received. Now I would have to close the contracts early. I can't let them expire, but I could still make money on the if it runs up on the position. If not, I may just let them get assigned because I do think we're going to run up, and I would love to sell some more $7 covered calls against it and just keep it going. So let's see what else I was going to say. That's really all. I was okay, so I was going to quickly go over my current positions with you guys that I think you guys, I know it cut out, but I think I'm back this time. I was going to go over my current positions with you real quick and the plans for them. So anybody that doesn't want to hear my positions, you can drop off. If you are a subscriber, you may want to know about these positions because you may be in some of them with me. So AMDL, I have 302 shares at an 1850 cost basis. Terrible, terrible cost basis. But that's okay. It's only 300 shares. I've got 3 covered calls against them. That's it. I also have 2 $14 cash secured puts that expire on the 26th. I'm up 6% on those, no big deal. So I'll just hold those. BBAI, let's take a look at BBAI. As of right now, I've got 752 shares. I will post later how many cash secured puts I have, but it's a lot. It's like 70 various strikes and expirations. And yesterday I was adding to them, so a lot. But this morning we did enter the February 20th expiration day opened up. So me and a couple of people in the chat sold February 20th $5 puts. They are paying like $50 a contract. That means either one, if it runs up soon, we close it early and take profits. If it doesn't run up, I mean, you would own shares at like $4.50. I mean, that would be an amazing average. Rollover is optional for BBAI. Yes, it is. Are you referring to cash secured puts? If so, then yes, I can help you get those rolled if you don't want to be assigned shares. I just need to know your contract strike and expiration. Don't close them until expiration, like until like the day before expiration. So, if they don't expire till next Friday, hold them until next Thursday, because a lot can happen between now and next week. So don't panic on any of the contracts that don't expire tomorrow. Just leave them alone. Early assignment's rare, and it would really, really have to make a huge drop for anyone that would want to assign, would want to take those shares. So just leave it. You're fine. BMNU, again, way down on those, just holding them. We'll see what happens. So for now, I'm just going to hold those. Bull, again, 1,603 shares and 7 covered calls. I am going to sell more cash secured puts to see if I can get my average down, but I'm going to wait for a nice red day. I mean, not that today's super green, but it's not super red either. CleanSpark and Mara, I don't even share those with y'all because I just own shares. I'm selling covered calls and I'm trying to get out. If anybody wants help, if you own CleanSpark or Mara and you want help selling covered calls, I can help you. Just let me know. EOSE, I've still got 2 contracts it is a $12 strike expiring tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes. I will not let those be assigned. I will probably go ahead and close those and maybe sell new contracts either today or tomorrow, but of course I'll update you in the chat. RCAT, in my large account, I've got 600 shares. I have some 750 cash secured puts expiring tomorrow. I have 4. I'm down a little bit. I'm gonna wait till tomorrow and just see what happens. If I get assigned the shares, that's okay with me. It's fine. I'm bullish on RCAT, and I will continue selling covered calls with the shares. My TSLL, I only own 200 shares now. So from 2,900 shares, I own 200. So I've just been offloading and taking profits. So this has been my most profitable year ever trading stocks, and it is highly due to TSLL. I'll probably lose 100 of those shares tomorrow with a $21 covered call. So I'll have to sell them at $21. And I received $32 profit. I mean, $32 premium. So that's okay. I'm not going to bother rolling. I'm going to let them go. I'm going to take profits and move on. And then I've got cash secured puts. They are all in the spreadsheet that I give you guys on Discord. So, and on X. So you've got the whole spreadsheet so you can look and see what they all are. Can you explain closing at 80%? Yes. Let's say you receive, I'm just going to example. Let's say you receive $100 for a contract of something. And it still has a week or two to expiration and you see that you're up 80%. That means you're up $80 because you received 100 and now you're up 80. You can buy that contract back for $20. So yes, it cuts into your profits, but you're closing it early. You're securing the profits. You're getting your buying power back and you're moving on. So it'll cost you $20 to buy it back. You'll make 80. You won't make 100 on the trade like you maybe originally thought you would, but you're making 80. And again, you're done with the trade. You're out of the trade. So there's no risk left. There's no, you get your buying power back and enter a new trade. So I typically do close at 80%, unless I am just dying to own the shares. I really, really do want to own the shares. Well, then I'll hold till expiration. But otherwise, if it's just a trade, I go ahead and close it. And then you can go ahead and use that capital to open a new position. So it's not like you're taking a huge loss by buying it back. You're entering a new position. So, just keep it rolling so you're continuously making money. I would love TSL lower so I could sell puts me too. And back in my more inexperienced days, I would have been selling cash secured puts even right now, maybe $20 strike, $21 strike. But I have learned my lesson with these leveraged ETFs and how much they can move. And I don't want my money tied up again. I'm going to say this again, even though I've said it a million times. 2 years ago, I got assigned 2,000 shares of TSLL at $15 and it dropped to $6. I couldn't sell covered calls. I couldn't do anything. All I could do was sit there and wait with my capital being held up and for 7 months. I don't want to do that again. I don't like when my capital is held up in a trade. So I'm going to be patient. I'm going to wait for a pullback. We'll get a pullback. I promise you that we will get a pullback. I'm not saying it's going to go to 10 again anytime soon, or 12, where my original sweet spot was, but we could definitely drop to 16, 18 again, fairly easy. And that's when I'll start jumping back in again. Is the meeting coming up for BBAI going to be a catalyst for anything? It definitely could. I consider it almost like earnings. It could definitely make it go up or down, or, it might even elevate the IV, which would be better for premiums. Yeah, it could affect it. But my thing is, number one, it's not leveraged. So although it may affect the stock price, it's not a leveraged stock. So it's not going to have like some kind of massive major run or fall. But another thing is it's also a cheap stock. So, if you've got a $400 plus stock like Tesla and it moves 5%, that's a huge move. That's a lot of money. If something like BBAI moves 5% or even, 20%, it's not a huge move given that it's a $5, $6 stock. So for me, I'm not too concerned with it. And I feel like even if it does drop, it'll just give us opportunities, and then it will go back up. So it does. I'm not saying it's an AI stock as far as like in comparison with NVIDIA. I am not in any way saying that. But I am saying, and I also am not saying it's like Palantir where it's going to run from $5 to whatever, $200. I'm not saying that. This is a stock for trading. But what I am saying is it will run a lot with AI stocks. So that's the reason it tanked this week, is because of all the OpenAI, Oracle, all that news. That's the reason it had this pullback. And then with the upcoming meeting, it could have another pullback. So, know your risk, know your risk tolerance, but just understand it's a $5, $6 stock. Even if it dropped to $4, it's not going to be a huge, I don't think it's going to mess up my entire portfolio. You know what I mean? Now I will say it did drop to $2, not all the way to $2, but like $2.38 or something back in April when the whole market dropped. But I mean, SOXL was at 7 and TSLL was at 6. So if it drops to 2, it's an overall market struggle. It's not just BBAI. So I don't think it's going to drop that low on its own. So it may have news, it may have another news, the stock market may tank, and that would create a bad environment for it. But overall, it is what it is. It can happen to any stock. I mean, you never know when a stock is going to take off or tank. I mean, Google took off like crazy and now it has tanked with no reason. I don't know about today, but recently, no real reason why it's come back down so much. So, it can happen. It can happen to any stock at any time. So that's a risk you take. That's a risk you take with trading and investing. So, just keep that in mind. Okay, so that's pretty much my positions right now. I'm going to continue going heavy in BBAI at the moment. I'm also going to continue taking profits when I see them. Right now, I am in pretty good profit with one of my positions. Okay, so BBAI, January 2nd, $5 put. I have 10 contracts, and I'm up 53%. Now, I know typically I wait till 80%, but due to the market and how it's fluctuating, and again, that I have like 70 plus contracts with other strikes and expirations, I may go ahead and close that and take $135 profit off the table. Again, it's 10 contracts, so it would give me quite a bit of buying power back that I can use to open new contracts or average down on some of my not so good contracts. Like my January 9th 550 put, I have 25 contracts and I'm down 50%. So, again, as long as we stay above 550, it doesn't matter that I'm down 50%. It makes no difference at all. I just wait. But I could take some of that money from closing out the contracts that expire on the 2nd and put them into the one that expires on the 9th. And then that would help me get my average down. So I may do something like that. Again, you're never going to go broke taking profits. So, okay, so now I'm just going to go over what I made this year in 2025. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and post it. I can answer as soon as I'm done with this, or if I see it right now, I'll answer right now. And then if you don't want to hear this, you can drop off. We're pretty much done, and I'll be over in the chat later. Okay, so in January 2025, I did the same thing as I'm doing right now. All of my contracts that I opened in late November or December, I pushed to a January expiration, just because number one, the premiums were higher. Number two, you can always close early. And number three, I'd rather pay the taxes the next year. So that was my plan with that, and it worked well. And I made $13,964. Now, I also want to mention though, that was a 5-week month. Not every month is 4 weeks. So you have to consider you're going to make more on the 5-week month, obviously. So the fact that I pushed everything to January and the fact that it was a 5-week month, I made almost $14,000 that month. If I could do that every month, I may retire. So just saying, that's not my norm. Okay, so then in February, it was a 4-week month. I made $4,200. Not great, whatever. I mean, I'm not complaining about $4,200. Don't get me wrong. My goal for this year was to make $5,000 a month. So, some months I did, some I didn't. So that was under my goal, but I'm not complaining about a $4,000 profit in a month. March and April is when we got the tariff news and the market tanked. I was also traveling. I was out of the country. So me sitting down I was in Europe. So they were 6 hours ahead. So, the market was opening in the middle of the afternoon. I was out doing stuff. And then out to dinner and, doing stuff. I wasn't going to sit down and roll and do things. So it was just the way it worked. It's just the way it happened. I was out of the country, tariff news, so on and so forth. I went ahead and just took a loss on a bunch of stuff, a bunch of cash securities. I just closed them out early. I didn't understand what tariffs meant for the stock market. I know what a tariff is. I didn't understand what it meant for the stock market. And moving ahead, I didn't have time to research. I was not about to ruin my European vacation. So I just closed, took a little bit of a loss. So $1,300 loss that month. So that means the whole month was a waste and I lost $1,300. Is what it is. That's the market. April, we were slightly recovering. I made $464 the whole month. So it was taking a loss on some things. I had to roll some things. A lot went on. So made $400 that month. Okay, wasn't a loss, whatever. Again, this isn't my primary source of income, is what it is. In May, also, we were pretty much recovering. It was a 5-week month. I made $2,500. Market was recovering. I was trying to, again, didn't know the future of the stock market. So I was being very, very cautious and careful and not getting all of my money tied up in plays that I didn't want to hold. So I made $2,500 there. I'm not complaining, but I will say this. The fact that we had that drop and I was able to enter a bunch of new positions, and I was assigned some shares of TSLL, that created my October and September being my most profitable months in the stock market ever. So let's go into June. Market's recovering. Everything's looking good. I made almost $6,000. Okay, so I'm at my goal. That was a good month. 4-week month, almost $6,000. Perfect. July, market was in full recovery mode. We were flying. Everything was doing well. A lot of my positions that I entered during April and May expired in July, and it was a 5-week month. I made $10,500. So I doubled my goal, but it was a 5-week month. So keep that in mind. In August, it was a 4-week month. I made $5,880. Met my goal. So now we're going to get into September and October. These are amazing. And let me just tell you, these months were due to the April, May months where I lost money, didn't make money, but it gave me an entry. It gave me the point of entry for all of these stocks and ETFs that later made me money. So right now, when we're seeing red days, and please make sure you're entering, because this is what makes you profitable later. So in September, it was a 4-week month. I made $13,000. So again, my goal was 5,000. I made 13,000 and it was a 4-week month. October was a 5-week month. I made almost $18,000 in October. And the reason for that is because, again, the down months that we had due to tariff news, and then TSLL making that huge run from $12 to $23. I sold off a bunch of shares, closed out a bunch of cash secured puts. It was amazing. It was an amazing month. Now, it was a 5-week month, but I still made almost $18,000. And that is the most profitable month I've ever had in the stock market ever. So again, it was the perfect storm. You know, it was TSLL. It was the tariff news, 6 months prior, whatever. So this is what you have to think about when we are having red days like this, is the future, not today, not tomorrow, not next week's expiration, but months away. What can potentially happen if you trade efficiently and take advantage of these red days? Everybody wants to FOMO in. As soon as something runs up, as soon as BBAI runs to 8, it's then going to take off to 9 because of all the FOMO buyers. Oh, I want to be in BBAI. Now it's at 8. I don't want to be in at 8. I want to be in at 6 or less. So take advantage of the sale. That's the way it's done. November was a 4-week month. I made $6,800. So above my goal. December, I don't know yet. We'll see. I don't know if it's a 4. I think it might be a 5-week month again. I'll have to check. But so hopefully this will be a good month as well, but I don't expect it to be one of my higher months because of November and December pushing out expirations to January. I want to have a huge January like I did this year. And I'd rather do that than, seeing the profits now and then having to pay taxes on them this year also. I'm debating if I should take some tax loss harvesting on some positions that aren't doing very well, but I haven't made that decision yet. And if I do, of course, I'll post it to you guys so you can think about it too, because I had a good year. Taxes are not going to be pretty on capital gains. So we'll see. But of course, I will also let you guys know how much in taxes I'm paying so that you can plan accordingly in case you made some decent money this year. And, if you made a small amount of money, if you have a small account and you just made, hundreds, just hundreds, I don't think you even have to turn that in and pay taxes on it. Just, ride it out. But I'm no CPA, but I think that's how it goes. So anyway, that's it for today. I spoke for a whole hour. I don't see any questions in here. I'm sorry we cut out in the middle. I don't know what happened, but thank you guys for sticking around. And this will be recorded. So anybody that dropped off due to that and want to watch it later, it's here. You can just kind of fast forward through that little delay. But I thank you guys so much for joining, and thank you guys for subscribing. I appreciate every single one of you. And I also appreciate you guys that are over in the Discord. I don't know what happened with the chat over in on X. Some people got updated, some didn't. And now that there's 2 separate chats, you can't even get in. You can't even chat with people that aren't updated. So it's just an odd situation. So I'm glad we were able to get over on Discord in Rod's Wheel Warriors server and have my separate chat for subscribers only. So I'll see you guys over there, and thank you, and we'll do this again next week. So I'll see you then.